Nick Donito here for Stage Buddy at New York Comic Con, and I can't find the words to explain how excited I am to be speaking to Jane Espenson, writer for Once Upon a Time. How are you today, Jane?
I'm very good. I can't find the words either. This is too awesome.
Well, that's an honor to hear. You've written for 2 shows so far that have been continued in comic book form. First was Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Can you talk about, in a show like that, where you work with an ensemble of other writers, is there a difference in the process of writing the show and the comic book?
I actually think I've written for 3 shows that have been continuing a comic book. Actually, maybe Buffy, Once Upon a Time, and Husbands. All 3 have comic book. Yeah. I find the process very, very different because it's so much more visual. It feels more like directing than it feels like writing. You have to constantly be thinking about sort of how to stage it. Like, what can I don't just want them to sit and talk on a bench for 5 pages. How can I take a scene that instinctively I feel like I want to put them on their asses so we can just listen to the conversation and make it active and visual? And where should the camera be, the virtual camera of a comic book? It's a lot more thought. It's a lot harder.
And for a show like Husbands, where you're the creator and lead writer, is that any different because you have complete creative control over the writing there, or is it the same as writing Buffy or Once Upon a Time?
I think it's the same. Writing Husbands was really interesting because we actually reimagined it as a science fiction thing or as a historical thing. Like every little chapter of the Husbands comic, we put it in a different world. So if the writing of it felt very different because we kept sort of starting fresh, but it was just as hard in terms of conceptualizing the action.
When you first started writing, did becoming a comic book writer ever cross your mind? Was that, or is that just a progression that happened naturally through your career? I mean, did you ever anticipate I'm going to be a comic book writer one day?
I read comic books as a kid, had a whole lot of Archie, but also like Superman and Batman and Wonder Woman. And no, it never crossed my mind. When I watch TV, it never not crossed my mind. Every time I watch TV, I was thinking about the people who write it and how you would write it, and I wanted to write it. Comic books, that never occurred to me.
What's your favorite fairy tale?
Fairy tales are interesting because they're not written to be sort of compelling characters. They're written to be these little moral stories. But, I mean, I'm wearing a Snow White shirt. Snow White's pretty cool. There's always something I liked about Rapunzel because of just, like, the fantastic element of the long, long hair. It's just like, that's just a cool image.
All right, well, thank you so much for talking to us.
Thank you.
I'm Nick. This is Jane Espenson, writer for Once Upon a Time. Once Upon a Time Wonderland starts soon, right?
Yeah, Once Upon a Time Wonderland is on Thursday nights. Check it out. I'm really involved in that, and it's really good.
All right. Have a great day.